this evening and welcome to the night before the game, the big one. Ohio State, that team up north from the big house in Ann Arbor. This is usually that time where there's a little bit of calm before the storm. Things will move fast once we wake up in the morning and 12 noon kicks off. And then for 3.5 hours, our stomachs are in knots, our palms are sweaty, we're yelling at TVs, we're screaming, we're dancing, we're maybe hopefully celebrating. Maybe some of us ruin some TVs or throw some remotes or whatever the case might be tomorrow. I hope none of that happens for Ohio State fans. I hope that all of those bad things happen for the fans of the maize and blue, the Walmart Wolverines, as we call them. But I just wanted to just kind of give you my thoughts. Less than, I guess you could say, what are we now? About 19 hours away from kickoff or so. When this posts, maybe 18, 17 hours away. And it's been a busy day for me, been a good day for me. But I just wanted to give you some of my thoughts. When I saw this picture, it's not an exciting picture. It's not a picture that get your juices flowing. But when the truck rolled up to that stadium in Ann Arbor and they started unpacking all the gear, all the technology that they need to function as a team on the road, the footballs, the helmets, the jerseys, the cleats, the pants, the pads, all of it, right? I began thinking about my career when I was a player, when I was an athlete many, many years ago, and thinking about these moments that you get. They're so few and far between in your life. When you, as an athlete, get the opportunity to play in a game in a moment like this, maybe you can count them on one or two hands. If you're lucky and you're like these college athletes, you've probably played in a few more. But just think about the season so far this year. There were big games. Texas 1 versus 2, right? At the beginning of the season. That was a big, big game. But even that feels slightly different than this. Even that kind of feels less valuable than this one. And win or lose, Ohio State's going to go on to the college football playoff. They're going to play again. If they win, they get to play in a week in Indianapolis, and we get to do this all over again. If that team up north loses, then they'll get one more game this year, and it'll be in a bowl game, and it will not be in the college football playoff more than likely. There's a lot riding on this game. But if you strip away the I guess you could say what's on the line, what makes this unique, what makes this special is you only get to do this once a season. And where we are at as Ohio State fans when it comes to this game is we feel like we have been cheated from what this game meant and represented for so long for so many of us who called this team that we're playing our rival, our bitter rival, our hated rival. And to see how things unfolded since 2020 when they skated through COVID. And then they dominated us in 2021 and we questioned why and how. And then again in 2022. And then 2023 happened. We figured out why and how. And then we had to wait all the way into the beginning of 25, but then 2024 happens, and all the changes that were made with headsets and things in helmets, and we thought, we're going to blow these guys out. We're the better team. And then we lost 13-10 at home somehow. And they plant a flag on our 50-yard line, and our players tear the flag down, and there's fights, and the Columbus police used pepper spray on some of our own players, and the rivalry changed. And it didn't change for the better, it changed for the worst. And that fan base laughs about that. They relish in it, as in like they've won some kind of great feat, because all of a sudden a lot of us feel like this thing has changed. It's been put on its head. It's no longer a good rivalry with a bitter enemy who you hate, who you want to beat. It's become a shell of what it used to be. And now it's just about righting the wrongs. Because whether they want to admit it or not, they've not gone about it the right way. They haven't just beaten us on the field. And they don't want to admit the facts, the truths to that. Despite the fact that the NCAA didn't lay down the punishment that the NCAA has done multiple times with multiple programs who did a lot less than what they did. And they don't want to admit that. Because in their heart of hearts, I think they know that they've cheated the rivalry as well. And so they laugh and they joke and they say things like, count how many days since Ohio State's won, ignoring all the wins from 2021 to 2019. They just ignore all of those, right? And so tomorrow means a lot for Ohio State fans. It's redemption. It's righting the wrongs. It's looking back at last year's loss, and that was a loss. Let's admit that. And then going on this amazing 4-game stretch in the playoffs and winning the first ever 12-team national championship, in which, again, their fan base can't accept that and somehow get behind people like Dave Portnoy and say, it doesn't really count, even though I'm pretty sure if you look in the record books, it counts. While ignoring their own sorry attempt at winning their own national championship in 2023 through the fact that despite the fact that their head coach was suspended how many times, and then given the harshest penalty in NCAA football history from our head coach, and yet they still celebrate it. You see what I'm saying? But in my mind, I was doing the typical Ohio State fan thing when you get close to this game and you start to get a little bit nervous. Some of the anxiety sets in a little bit. You start to think back to those days when you were an athlete and you had trouble sleeping the night before a big game. And then I saw the following tweet come across, and I had to share it with all of you because you all know my love for Jim Tressel. The game is one of the greatest traditions in all of sports. I've never been shy of where I stand on this rivalry. So I set a wager with Michigan's lieutenant governor. When the Buckeyes take care of business, we'll be sending him an Ohio State sweater vest for a photo op in the Michigan State House. If things go the other way, I'll wear an Michigan vest here in Ohio. I like our chances and have great faith in our guys. Go Bucks. Do you have great faith in this team? Do you have great faith in this coaching staff? I would say if there's one small but yet glaring thing that we still have as Ohio State fans, we're lacking faith in Ryan Day when it comes to this game. And maybe it's because some of us grew up in the 90s and we remember what this felt like every year, having a number one team and still losing somehow to this team that didn't have the athletes we had. And maybe that's kind of what's in the back of my head. I don't know. Maybe you're like me. But reading that tweet from Jim Tressel, it got me fired up. I've been saying it ever since that Tennessee game. Something changed in Ryan Day. Maybe it was the reality that going home after that game, dealing with the lunatic fringe, although I kind of adopted that word for our fan base, but the idiots in the fan base who had threatened him and his family, and watching Nina, and she started packing up boxes and getting ready to move on, but then Ryan told her, we have to fight like hell. No one's coming to our aid here. We have to do this. And he rallied around those players, and those players rallied around him last year. And they stomped Tennessee. And they went to the Rose Bowl and they stomped Oregon. Then they went down to the Cotton Bowl in Texas's backyard and they doubled them up 28-14. And then they played Notre Dame in a national championship game, and it felt like a foregone conclusion, but yet it was a great comeback by the Irish. But Ohio State at the end just had Jeremiah Smith and a great call on third down to wrap that game up and sealed it with a kick. And he's gone on an 11-0 run this season since then. And I didn't think Ohio State had it in them, I'll be honest. I did not predict this team would be at this point. I predicted Michigan would be 9-2 coming into this game. I nailed that. But I also thought Ohio State would be 9-2 coming in this game. And they've been far better than that. They've been the most consistent, best team all season. But yet somehow that doesn't seem to matter tomorrow, does it? All that matters is winning this game. Tomorrow, my faith in Ryan Day can be redeemed. Tomorrow, we can win that game and head back to Indiana and take on the Hoosiers in what should be an amazing 1-2 Big Ten championship game. But it all has to go right tomorrow. And just like Jim Tressel said, the man who you all know I absolutely love and adore, I have great faith in this team. My faith has wavered in Ryan Day. A year ago today, I lost faith in him. And he's gained it all back in me. And tomorrow, we can secure that. We can secure it, and we can put the rest. This story, this idea that he can't beat that team up north. I remember 2019. Ryan Day needs to remember it too. Go up there. Let's kick their butts. Let's rub their face in the mud. Don't play scared. Don't play timid. Take it to them, boys. Go Bucks.